So Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, said in a tweet, "If you're a real fan, you'll make it work," in reference to the price of Borderlands 4, which is not a good look. It's kinda true, but at the same time, it's something a toxic Stan would say on Reddit. It's not a good look. Like, I'm sure a real fan of Borderlands would make an $8 price tag work. It doesn't mean they want to do that, though, and you really shouldn't tell them to do that as the CEO of the developer. And, like, I understand why Randy Pitchford would be frustrated by people talking about the price all the time, because ultimately, he can't really decide that. He's not the publisher, that's 2K. And 2K is extremely greedy. They make NBA 2K, and we all know how greedy that game is. Like, if you want to play as a certain player, you gotta gamble and open a bunch of packs to get it. And then there's a yearly installment, which just adds new players. Like, isn't that the game with Jake from State Farm in it? Like, it's a joke. It's a joke game. And he talks about how in 1991, he worked minimum wage and bought an $8 game called Star Fight for the Sega Genesis. And I think it's the last thing people want to hear right now. Some guy talk about how it was different when he was a kid, you know? Now, in defense of Randy Pitchford, this tweet is just really poorly worded. There's a video response where he talks on stage about the price, and he goes over like every little thing about it, and it makes a lot more sense than this tweet. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm not even a big Borderlands fan. Like, I tried to like Borderlands, it's just not my game. So to me, this is more of the conversation about $8 games in general, because those are becoming more prominent, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. And the main reason I'm not a huge fan of that is because mainly the game cost $80, and then they put a bunch of microtransactions in it. What's the point? Why am I spending $80 if you're still gonna, charge me for literally everything? Now, I don't think Borderlands will be like this. So the $8 price tag, to me, is not the worst thing in the world, assuming there are no microtransactions. That's when I would not like it at all. I know that this will be an unpopular opinion, but frankly, I think $8 is fine if the game doesn't have microtransactions. If it does have microtransactions, I am not on board. But at the same time, I would probably wait for the game to go on sale before I bought it, because I'm not that into Borderlands. And the $8 price tag is more of a social tax to play the game at launch and talk about it, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I kind of get it. And realistically, it doesn't matter how many justifications a company has to a consumer about why prices are going up, because people in general are tired of prices going up. Like, it doesn't matter if you have the best reason in the world, people don't want to hear it and they don't want the price to go up. They want it to stay the same forever. That's ultimately what it is. And also, it's really hard in my mind to justify an $8 price tag when Expedition 33 exists. That game is phenomenal and costs $50. Like, genuinely, if you've not played that game, I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a huge fan of turn-based combat, it's really good. But realistically, people just don't want the price to go up. And saying if you're a real fan, you'll make it happen regardless of the price comes off as really out of touch and entitled. And I understand their perspective. Okay, they worked on this game forever. They want to recoup their losses. I get that. But at the same time, Randy Pitchford, it's not 1991 anymore. Like, even when the Switch 2 was announced and it was $450, people were like really unhappy with that. And in my opinion, $450 for the Switch 2 is not a bad deal. I think people are being mega entitled with the Switch 2, and I know this is the unpopular opinion, but seriously, I think the Switch 2 gets you a lot for what you're paying for, if I'm being honest. And I understand why people don't like the increased price tag. Okay, I understand why you don't like it, but I also think the Switch 2 is kind of fair for what they're giving you. The Switch 2 is like pretty impressive hardware-wise, in my opinion. But in general, people don't want to hear the excuse of things cost more to make now. They just don't want the game to go up in price. And saying if you're a real fan, you'll make it work was like super out of touch. And realistically, I don't think Borderlands 4 can get away with charging $80 for the game when things like Expedition 33 exist. Like, there's gonna be more and more games that are coming in, they're gonna undercut all these AAA games, and they're gonna be way better for way less money. Like, I'm sorry, I've played a bit of Borderlands. I don't think Borderlands 4 is gonna be better than Expedition 33. I just don't think it's gonna be better. Now, do I prefer Expedition 33's playstyle more than Borderlands? Yeah, I do. So I'm a bit biased there. But I would be surprised if, generally speaking, people thought Borderlands 4 was better than Expedition 33. And that game cost $50. And realistically, I think the only game to get away with charging $8 and no one would complain is probably GTA 6. I think Rockstar could charge $100 for GTA 6 and no one would really care, because honestly, the game is probably worth that amount of money. Now, with GTA shark cards in the mix, I am a little bit more skeptical because those things are a total scam. But still, in general, I think people would pay a lot of money for GTA 6. And I don't think Borderlands 4 has that kind of weight to it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Blue Sky down below, and check out my Discord as well down below. Click the answer down, talk about my content, and have a good one.